this idea of sort of economic turmoil for whatever reason. Sam Altman's other business called WorldCoin I think it intends to distribute basically value. Let's just, to simplify it, distribute money to people in a world where there's been so much economic disruption that we've kind of lost our jobs. That's kind of how I understood it. So people are going around the world scanning their retinas on these machines that have been placed all over the world. And that's going to become the mechanism to identify you as a unique individual, as a human, so that they can send you free money, universal basic income in a world where people are going to struggle to have jobs. Now, I don't think I've butchered that too much, but do you believe that world is going to happen where there's going to be so much disruption in the labor force that so many people are going to be unemployed that we're going to need to just basically give out money to people?
I think that's going to be a short ride.
You think it's going to be a short ride?
Yeah, I do.
What do you mean by that?
Unfortunately, the story of human evolution and competition it's one of great triumph and overcoming adversity in some chapters, and it's one of tragedy and atrocity in others. I am very concerned that the idea of useless eaters is about to make a huge comeback, and that UBI has two impacts.
UBI meaning universal basic income.
Universal basic income and everything that functions like it, so some distribution of value. One, it's going to make the people who are creating the value, or people who think they're creating the value, resent those who are absorbing the value just to live. And it is therefore going to trigger a quest to reduce that line item on the balance sheet. And there will be all kinds of excuse making, but it's pretty ugly.
I mean, we see that in society already. People that are working hard and that are paying a lot of tax get resentful towards the people at the very bottom of the income spectrum who are maybe not working at all and are getting paid. Yeah. And interestingly, another factor in here is people that earn more money seem to have less kids. And that becomes a point of contention in society.
Yep. So I think you're seeing the picture, and you're exactly understanding why this will turn into the usual demonization of some set of people as a pretext for getting rid of them. So that's bad. The other bad effect that will come from UBI is learned helplessness. And I think we've actually seen this. In fact, the woke revolution, I think, is a tragic story because on the one hand, while, I was chased out of a job that I loved by a bunch of people who accused me of things that I wasn't guilty of in a kind of madness. On the other hand, how did they end up there? They ended up there because they were betrayed. They were betrayed by a system that was supposed to deliver them a life that worked. It was, if you did what you were asked to do, if you went to school, if you did the homework, you were supposed to come out of it with a skill set that would allow you to live a decent life. And instead, many of them were given drugs that we biologically had no understanding of, because somebody was profiting off their dependency. And we sent them to schools, and we provided them with majors that they could dedicate themselves to that weren't real, that didn't create skills or insight. In many cases, created exactly the inverse. It created confusion. And at some point, they realize, you know what? I don't have a plan. And in such a case, those people who don't have skills that are going to allow them to live a decent life are going to look for someone to blame. And they're probably going to land on the wrong person, right? And especially if somebody is cynically willing to sell them the story that, who you should blame? It's straight white guys or something like that. They'll listen. And I will say, I've done a lot of thinking about the game theory of human competition. And one thing has struck me in recent years, which is that there's a reason that communism continues to reemerge. It doesn't work, so why would people keep landing there? And I think it is unfortunately the natural consequence of a meritocracy that does not take care of those who lose. If you have a meritocracy where the way to have a decent life is to figure out how to provide something that people want, right? But you don't have a plan for the people who try that and it doesn't work for whatever reason, then what you will end up with is a large number of people who will correctly understand that they are on the losing end of a bargain. Those people don't have an investment in keeping that system running. They want to overturn it. And in fact, with some cause, they will look at all of the fortunes that have been created in that meritocracy and they will say, do you realize how much of that is illegitimate? Do you realize how much of that was parasitic? We want it back. And so I think communism is, game theoretically, it can't be made to work. It has a fundamental flaw at its heart, which is that it punishes those who contribute and it rewards those who don't. Such a system will inherently be unproductive.
If you love the Diary of a CEO brand and you watch this channel, please do me a huge favor. Become part of the 15% of the viewers on this channel that have hit the subscribe button. It helps us tremendously, and the bigger the channel gets, the bigger the guests.